Now, having your issues placed upon the table so clearly and succinctly, why don't we move forward now to look at how to solve the problem that you have identified? And as we make this transition to our next phase, we are really then looking at how to move from the past, and I certainly hear that you have learned some things from the past in terms of looking at some strategies that maybe work to some degree, but not to a significant degree. So let's look now at the future to see what would be helpful in solving the problems. Why don't you talk about some options that can be entertained at this point?
Well, the first thing I would say is, based on this pressing review, very short time frame.
Your promotion tenure review.
My promotion tenure review, that you offer some kind of reduction in the fall, at least to take away the large section in the fall so that I could focus on my research.
And I understand. I really do hear what you're saying with that. I will take another look at that.
And I'll go ahead and take it in the spring. I'll plan to do it once next year, but just give me one semester off.
That's more than fair. That's more than fair. The thing I want to be sure is that we don't wind up back in a situation like this where we're saying, oh, but now you've given me 2 course preparations with a small class, and that's too much. You know, we can't continue that kind of relationship in the process. So if you're saying that you'd be willing to have 1 semester without that, which would mean perhaps 2 other preparations.
Right.
Okay.
I understand that.
I will work hard to make that happen.
And so in looking then at the short term for this time frame, you all agreeing upon a reduction in the large teaching load for the upcoming fall, and that this reduction will then allow more time for you to engage in your research activities. And Sylvia, you're saying you're willing to explore this further, but also with the notion that this is short term and that there may be other considerations in the future.
We just, can't make a long-term commitment about who teaches what at this point.
I can see, I can't really. I don't have any idea everything you have to juggle. I don't want to know what you have to juggle.
I don't want to know what I have to juggle.
But I will try not to, if I have a complaint, I'm going to bring it to you.
That would be an incredible move forward for us. For the simple reason that we're way ahead in trying to get it straightened out if you and I are actually talking about it. If I get it, and believe me, they come back to tell me. So it's not as if you talk about it and they keep it in confidence. Then it loses in the translation, and the problem is much worse than it would be if we were talking directly. So that would be an incredible move forward if we could get that kind of commitment.
That sounds like that's better for both of us, absolutely.
I believe that.
Would you all want more structure around this second area of agreement? For example, when will you have opportunities to talk to each other? I know things get pretty busy, and you can lose sight of the time if it's not kind of built into your normal schedule. Would it be helpful to have that structure?
I think so. I'm afraid, I don't know about you, but life's so full that if it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. I'm not just going to walk by the office because I got an extra 5 minutes because I don't have it. So a schedule would be good.
That sounds reasonable to me.
Okay. And when would you all like to get together to create this schedule?
Right away.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's
early
something.
next week.
Opportunity. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's something that can start as early as next week, the beginning of next week. Let me just go back for a moment to your first area of agreement when you're looking at the reduction in the fall. Is that something that can be solidified now?
I believe it can, but I'm reluctant to tell you emphatically that I can do that when I'm not sitting with a look at who's available to teach and what exactly are the courses. We may be even able to look at when those large sections are offered so that it wouldn't be an every semester offering. But I'll have to look at everything I'm not hedging, I promise. I'm just saying I'll have to have it all in front of me. But I believe we can make that work. And it may be possible to do it in such a way so that everybody would be relieved some semesters of some particular sections.
Great.
But
Okay, so you'll need some time to explore, but you are making the commitment to take a look at this particular area. And Ron, I know while this is a short-term kind of solution, certainly as you look beyond your tenure and promotion for next year, are there some things you'd like to add on to this recommendation?
I can't look beyond tenure and promotion.
Okay, so a little bit too early.
That's all I
It's a
want
tough
to.
time.
That's all I want
It's
to
a
do
very
right
tough
now.
time.
If we make it through next year, then the doors are wide open as far as I'm concerned.
I wonder if we might not take a look at some ways to make those large classes more efficient but maintain the quality of the instruction too. So when you are teaching it the next time, perhaps we can provide some assistance there with people who are strong.
I think that would be great because it's very hard. It's very hard for me to figure out how to do that. And if, somebody must have figured it out, and I would be happy to get some input on how to do that.
Well, and I've said this before, but in truth, what you did figure out, according to your evaluations and things that students said to me and your colleagues, how to give quality instruction in that section. So you may be able to give some assistance to somebody in some other ways, and they may be able to give it to you in terms of just the efficiency of the large class.
And so this will be a department-wide type of assessment.
Since we're all responsible for large classes, I think it might be really helpful for everybody.
Okay. And then you may have a pool of people who will be looking at more efficiencies as it relates to the large class and the teaching load therein.
Because, I've probably said this before, but one of the things that is really important is, I think, for each of our faculty members, but certainly in this exchange we're having, Ron, for you to know is that you aren't the only one who's concerned about. I mean, large classes across the country right now, and everybody's concerned. It's a higher ed problem. So it's not something that's unique with you.
And so it certainly sounds like that is a common area for both of you, that you both are in different kinds of ways struggling with the challenge of having a large teaching load and as well as a large class within that teaching load.
It's hard to see beyond those 130 faces in the midst of it, but I think it could be very valuable to talk to my colleagues who stare at those 130 faces too. That sounds very valuable.
I think we can make some connections with people even outside our own department too, who've been successful with this.